Hello everyone, welcome to AT Gameplay. So it has been quite a while since I recorded due to the fact that one, my husband was home for a while from work and I live in a small apartment and it would cause too much noise. And two, we live in Texas and they had that Hurricane Nicholas thing come along, but when it came here, we weren't hit at all. It was just a little bit of rain, that was it. Some of our friends went without power for a while, but we were lucky we didn't have any of that issue. So let's just get started. I think in the last episode of Cinderella Phenomenon we had where Rod and us were dancing, and I think Emmeline noticed or something like that. I don't remember. We'll see anyway. Let's just get started. Today is the first time that I am leaving the palace on a day off. Usually, I choose to stay inside, whereas the other servants always leave to go home. I never see any reason to leave since this always has been my home. And the Marchen has never been home. Besides, it is not as if I want to return, not after that conversation we all shared last time. Thus, I have spent most of my days asking questions about Mother's reign, inquiring when and where I can. The opinions do not surprise me. I was so scared of her. One wrong move, and she'd have you thrown in prison. The townfolk would always wait for her to pass by before leaving their houses. She was a tyrant. The kingdom is a better place now that she's gone. There is no reason for them to lie to me. The more I hear, the more my old life makes sense to me. I now know why the king never seemed to love Mother, and why the people hated her, and the reason people looked at me with such fear. However, it has been months since I have been glared at in public. If there's one good thing about this curse, if there's one good thing that this curse did for me, is that it allows me to travel around town without being noticed. As Viorica's shop comes into view, my thoughts shift to the reason I had left the palace in the first place. If Rod will not tell me anything, I have to ask Viorica. She must be related in some way to his curse. I pause outside the door of the toy shop. With a deep breath, I push the door open. Welcome. The moment she sees me, her expression becomes confused. Oh, you are the princess's maid, Lucette, right? I nod at her. You've never come in here alone before. What can I help you with? I wanted to ask you something. It is about Prince Rod. Prince Rod? Did something happen to him? Is he okay? He's fine. She sighs with relief. Then, what is it you would like to ask? I wanted to know if you knew anything about Prince Rod's sudden muteness. It's funny, I played this game before and I never realized she had freckles. This whole time I never realized that. Derp. I just noticed it. Viorica stares at me for a few moments before she shakes her head. I only know that it happened soon after my fiancé, Desmond. Soon after I met my fiancé, Desmond. What reason do you have for asking? Well, I try to think of a plausible explanation for this, and I immediately consider Emmeline. Viorica is Emmeline's best friend. Surely she would be willing to help if she knew I was doing this for Emmeline. Prince Rod has been very quiet recently. Prince Emmeline has been worried sick about him, but he refuses to say anything, even to her. I have been trying to gather information that might be helpful in discerning the cause. I stare at her expectantly, hoping that my gaze holds nothing but determination. Finally, Viorica smiles. She's lucky to have a dedicated friend like you. I'm still not accustomed to the fact that Emmeline considers me as a friend. Before she became the princess, I was her first confidant. We were like sisters. But now that she's living in the castle, we no longer have the luxury of spending so much time together. I worry about her constantly. Even around me, Em always tended to keep her problems to herself at first. She doesn't like to bother other people with them. It is hard to not agree. With the way Emmeline was always smiling before, I never thought she had any problems in her life. It was only recently that I'm sorry if you hear that. My son is talking while he's supposed to be napping. I don't know if you can hear it. I hope it's not too loud if you can. It was only recently that I discovered that she was hiding all her loneliness and pain behind a smile. It's a relief that she befriended someone who cares so much about her. I don't know if I can be much help, but I'll tell you what I know, if it will help Emmeline. To start with, I'm not exactly sure how everything changed, but it all happened so suddenly. All I know is that after the night I met Desmond, our relationship changed. At first he still smiled, but recently he's been avoiding me. What happened between the two of you the night you met your fiancé? Nothing. Rod and I did not meet on that day. Prince Rod wasn't there? No. But soon after what happened that night, Rod grew distant. What happened? It was a stormy night, and I was heading back home. I took the route by the riverbank because it was the shortest route. It was foolish of me. The road was slippery and full of mud. I lost my footing and fell into the water. The waves were strong, and I was certain I was going to drown. I don't remember what happened in the darkness of the water, only that when I woke up, my head was in Desmond's lap. That was the first time we met, but not the last. He carried me home, and he came by every day as I was recovering. And then he came to visit even after I had recovered. He's still yelling in the crib. I tried not to get my hopes up too much. Because what could this nobleman see in me? A mere commoner. But I still ended up falling in love with him. You have no idea how happy I was when he said he loved me too. It was a dream come true. Of course, every girl dreams of marrying a prince. After I finish this sentence, I'll probably leave because it seems like my son does not want to go to sleep, even though he's supposed to. Anyway, I'm just gonna say it was all of the fairy tales that I had read as a child. Anyway, I'm just gonna let you go now before he starts full-blown screaming. Anyway, see you in the next video. Bye!